It's kind of shocking because you see Canada as a developed country, right? Where you assume that at least child abuse or exploitation would be the last thing that would exist. And I didn't want to just sit in a cubicle, do some research and say, well, this is what it is. I really wanted to go out and talk to the people and ask them their stories.
And when I was in Winnipeg, a radio announcer, we were doing a talk show about this, he said to me, aren't these are just hookers, right? These are just hookers.
There are these triangles in which girls are being moved. So Saskatoon, Edmonton, Calgary, and then back to Saskatoon. Or if you're in Edmonton, it will take you to Vancouver. And often it's like you sleep in, you probably sleep in a truck in Edmonton, and you find yourself waking up in Vancouver. So why that happens? Its underlying is that traffickers want to make sure that girls don't form attachments or bonds in the city where they are. They don't get to know people as much. But underlying is to make sure that there is power and control.
I got to hear firsthand of the people that were involved, and so it really moved me. I sat there, I was in tears listening to the stories, and I could not leave there as a leader, occupying this role of Grand Chief. With this information, how can I leave there and not do anything about it?
Grand Chief Ron Evans and other people in Manitoba are trying to raise attention to this issue, and it was only through days and days of national and local media attention that the government of Manitoba finally, in the summer of 2009, announced a task force to investigate missing and murdered Aboriginal girls.
One of the things that we know, particularly being here in the downtown east side, is the prevalence of domestic trafficking, and particularly of First Nations women. Over half of the women that are living in the downtown east side are First Nations, and when you start to understand their stories, you realize that many of them, from a very early age, have been victim to some dynamic of trafficking and exploitation.
It's very hard when your trafficker is your boyfriend, or that you're desperately holding on. The last thing you're holding on to is some sense of identity and belongingness that it gives you, no matter how much abuse or exploitation that comes with it.
There were a lot of issues in her family, issues of addiction, mental health issues, family breakdown. By the time she was 6 years old, she was already drinking. When she was about 11 years old, she talks about the day that he came to her and said, I've spent a lot of time with you, I've bought you a lot of things, I've spent a lot of money on you, you need to pay me back. And she remembers that at the age of 11, going to the first party where she was gang raped by 5 or 6 of his friends, and that began a number of years of her being in debt to him.